Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to NOLA Theatre Talk. My name is Alan Smason. Welcome once again. We broadcast on Monday nights to the NOLA Theatre Folk Facebook group, to the theatrecriticism.com Facebook page, and my own YouTube channel. And again, I want to thank you all for joining me tonight. Again, those of you who are just joining us right now, maybe not being able to join us live, you may be seeing this archived. We do keep this on the Facebook NOLA Theatre Folk Facebook group, as well as the NOLA Theatre Folk Facebook, the theatrecriticism.com Facebook page. So you can see it, even if you're not seeing it live, it'll be available. Okay, we're having a little bit of problem, apparently, with my NOLA Theatre Talk show going to the NOLA Theatre Folk Facebook group. I'll have to redo it as I did last time. This is a problem with Facebook being a little bit of a problem, I'm sorry to say, but we're going to continue doing the broadcast, and there's not much else I can do other than to do that. The other choice is to stream it to my own Facebook page, and that's what I'm going to do next time, and then I'll do it to the other page next time, so it'll be live. But in any event, I'm sorry to say that we're having difficulties, technical difficulties, but we're going to carry on, not a problem. Let's just move on. Tonight we are talking about, as you can see in the upper part of the screen there, the Jefferson Performing Arts Society. They have a brand new logo and a brand new season for 2024-2025. For those of you who are not familiar with it, JPAS is celebrating many years in operation. They first began under the leadership of Dennis Asaf and continue with the maestro as the artistic director. Now with an executive director, Rob Deviney, who is a well-known figure in Jefferson Parish politics, also well-known in Mardi Gras circles with the crew of Argus. And for those of you who have not yet taken a look at the season or wanted to check out what's going on, they have several different venues. Of course, the main stage venue, if you will, in the Metairie area is what we call the JPAC, or the Jefferson Performing Arts Center, located at 6400 Airline Drive. And then, of course, they have on the West Bank in Westwego, the Westwego Performing Arts Center, which used to be a few years ago shuttered because of some severe damage that was done by several different hurricanes. I think on at least 3 different occasions, we've had damage to the Westwego Performing Arts Theater, but I am happy to report that it's all been repaired and they are going to have a full season there. And hopefully those of you who are used to seeing shows in the Teatro Wego will see it instead at the Performing Arts Theater in Westwego. So as I was saying, we're going to talk about the entire season. Jefferson Performing Arts Society starts off with a real crowd pleaser. For those of you who did not go to Broadway, I did, and I got to see the original iteration of this show. And I have to tell you, the very first show is going to be a School of Rock. And it's the musical by Andrew Lloyd Webber, and it's based, of course, on the Jack Black film of the same title. I don't know if any of you remember it, but it was a real fun film. And we're actually going to talk to the person who is the director for that. And I'm going to bring her into the room right now because we want to, kind of make the evening complete. Before we get to any other guests, we have Janet Shea standing by, and we have a couple other people who are supposed to be on the program tonight. So hopefully people will be coming into the studio with their drinks. I have my little amaretto, and you'll see me cheer Leslie Castay in just a second, because that's who our guest is going to be tonight. Well, guess what? We have a very special guest, and that is, of course, the First Lady of Cabaret, the Queen of Cabaret, and now, of course, a star and a director in her own right, Leslie Castay. Yay!
Hello.
So Leslie, you are on tonight because you are going to be the debut director for the Jefferson Performing Arts Society's initial offering for 2024-25, their new season. And you know, we wanted to let everybody know what that is. And before you don't know what it is, we'll give you a little sneak hint. Here you go.
Drum roll. School of Rock.
All right. Now that is the program and my my ticket to go see School of Rock back in 2015. That's how far back I went with it.
Wow.
Now this is one of the young kids who was in the show. He played Mozart or whatever the kid who plays the keyboards.
He must have been the Lawrence, yeah.
This is the girl who plays the band manager.
Awesome. This summer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now, do you remember Zach?
Sure.
Okay. I'm wearing my particular tie tonight because Zach is described as a young Jimi Hendrix, right?
That's right.
And that is actually Brandon Niederauer, the original star. Brandon was a discovery of my cousin Sidney Smith's, and Brandon actually met me afterwards, but I've known him through the years. He was only about 9 years old. He's now 19. So my cousin's known him for about a decade. He's really amazing. Now, do you know who this young lady is?
Is that Sierra?
Yeah, Sierra Bogus?
Yes.
And
the Queen of the Night herself.
Yes. And then there was one other person who was in the show who needs not to be introduced at all.
Mr. Alex.
Yes. Alex Brightman.
Fantastic.
We were having fun.
He was great.
He's so much fun. So please inform me who will be your Alex Brightman and tell me a bit about why you all picked him and what were some of his qualifications.
So we have a cast of amazingly talented locals that who will be every bit as wonderful as the New York cast. A wonderful actor, musician, singer named Nathan Parrish will be playing our Dewey Finn. He's from the Hammond area, I believe, and I think he appeared at JPAS in last season in Superstar. And he showed up to the audition with a guitar, and I was like, please, when I saw him carrying his guitar, I was like, please be a good player. Please be a good player. And he just shredded. He shredded, and he has this wonderful rock voice, and he just brings it, and he brings his own style to it too. He's very funny, and the kids love him, and we're having a ball. We have 18 local kids in the cast. They play the instruments too. We have a wonderful Mero Benoit plays our Katie, the bass player. Mm-hmm. Drago Han plays Lawrence, the keyboard player. August Dusan plays our Freddie, the drummer. And Andrew Lettier plays Zach, the guitarist. So we have an amazing cast of singing actors too.
And of course, he is a music director of his own right. So therefore, he knows how to play the music as well as how to express himself as a musician.
Yeah.
And of course, for those of you who don't remember, he had a little small role in one of the earlier productions last year, correct?
That's right. In Superstar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a little small role. By the way, I brought my little amaretto with me just because it's that late, I needed a little something.
Well, I'm in rehearsal now, so I'm just got my water bottle.
Anyway, I wanted to thank you, because it would not be right not to include you with all of the people who are going to be on the show with us. You are rehearsing at the same time as we are live streaming, so we're doing this a little early, so as to ensure the fact that you're included, because it would not be right for me to have you not included as part of the JPAS 2024-25 season. So you're looking forward to this?
Looking forward to this. I also want to give a shout out to Rachel Looney, another leading lady of JPAS, who's playing our Queen of the Night, our Mrs. Mullins, and she's fantastic. And it's just they have such a great chemistry and pairing, and we're having so much fun with them.
Well, of course, she's the love interest too later on for Dewey, right? That's and I never know what to call him, Dewey, because he's actually playing. He's portraying Dewey. He's not the real Dewey, right? His
real name is Dewey Finn. He portrays Mr. Schneebly. His roommate is Ned Schneebly.
But everybody calls him Schneebly, right?
That's so the kids call him Mr. Schneebly.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
He's really Dewey. That's correct. Okay.
Having a lot of fun.
Anyway, I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
It's time to go.
Come and see it, everybody. September 13th.
All right. And now back to the other All-Stars for tonight. Okay, here we go.
All right, great. Thanks for having me.
Well, right now it's just me, but not for long, because We have Jack Lambert, who's supposed to be coming in. Yes, Jack, that's your cue. Hurry into the room now. We're still waiting for a few of the other people who are supposed to be. Kenneth Beck. We had a couple of cancellations last minute. Some of the directors who were supposed to be on stage. We're expecting somebody who's going to be representing the Columbia Theater tonight. I'm not quite sure where they all are, but they need to get in here quick, because it's not, I'm going to be talking to just Janet all night long. Janet Shea, welcome to the show.
With bad lighting, here I am.
Now, Janet, you're going to be my lucky star, because your show is the last of the shows that JPAS is doing this year. So you're going to be sticking around the whole night, and you're going to be my touchstone. You're going to be, my my person who's going to keep me straight and narrow throughout this 50 more minutes that's remaining before we have to sign off. So you're going to be doing a show that's I've never seen it before, based on the love interest between Marilyn Monroe and the very famous baseball player Joe DiMaggio, the New York Yankee. Was he called the Yankee Clipper? I'm trying to remember. I think so. Wasn't that right? When he called the Yankee Clipper at one point? In any event, we've got a number of other shows to talk about, and it's a big season. So I'm waiting. I know Jack Lambert came in earlier to make sure that everything was working. But I should say that the School of Rock that we mentioned, School of Rock, is going to be on first, September 13th. It opens. But they're going to have a couple of other shows for School of Rock also at the Columbia Theatre for the Performing Arts, which is in Hammond. And for those of you who've never been inside, here's a look at the inside, the interior there of the Columbia Theatre. So you'll be able to see that. I hope that our good friend Mr. Winter will be here to talk a little bit about the Columbia Theatre. But right now we have another famous personage to come in, and that is Jack Lambert. Jack, welcome to the show. This is sort of like the French tricolor. We've got the red, white, and blue here.
Really?
So
Janet.
So Janet's in blue, you're in red, and I'm sort of in white. Although this is really more blue, light blue. So I don't know if you got a chance to see Leslie talk about her show, but we talked about the very first show that's on the bill for JPAS this year, which is School of Rock. We just got finished mentioning that, but you're going to have the second show that's going to be on the boards, and it's going to be put on where, in West Wego?
In West Wego, yes.
And we couldn't announce it because at the time there was a national touring production of this particular show, so it was a big question mark. Everybody kind of knew what it was, but it was at the Sanger, and of course everybody knows now that we now have a clue as to what it was. And you've got this whole thing cast now. Rehearsals start when?
Saturday.
So it's around the corner.
Oh yeah, the show goes up October the 3rd through the 13th.
October the 3rd through the 13th.
Yep, and so we start rehearsal Saturday afternoon.
And I think you told me that there's 11 different players doing 14 different roles.
Yeah, 14 or 15. I looked it up after we said that, but I think it's 15.
Okay.
Because one of the ensemble plays 3 different characters, and the other 2 play 2 different characters. So
that's good. That's 4, 5. That's 9 plus the other 11. Is it? Well, wait a minute. That seems like more. Is it?
No. The 3 ensemble people play.
Okay, so we have to subtract 3 from that.
Right.
Okay, so 6. That sounds like 16 to me, but I'll believe you at 15. That's okay. Anyway, so
I never was good in math.
Tell me, for anybody who missed the show at the Sanger, how is this different? Is this going to be the same show? Going to be different?
It's the same script that they did at the Sanger.
Okay.
So it's the same. It's the same. It's basically playing the game.
Okay.
Of Clue.
So it's not based on the movie, right? It is based on the movie. It is based on the movie.
The game.
Gotcha. Okay. So it's based on the movie, which is based on the game, but it's a fairly new rendition, right? It's
I think so. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure when it came out exactly, but yeah, it's rather new. It's hysterical. I
okay.
mean, that's all I can say is that it's
All right. Well,
really. It's
Janet
just,
and I are going to take a little seat back. Tell us about it. Tell us about it, Jack. Who's in
well,
it? Who's in it? And what's it gonna be? Is it gonna be the last time we did it at the Sanger? It was 90 minutes, no intermission. Is that gonna be
that's
basically?
exactly what it is.
Okay.
It's exactly what it is.
So tell me who's gonna be your Colonel Mustard and your Miss Scarlet and all those other people.
Okay, well, Louis Dudasat is playing the Wadsworth, the butler. Candace Moses is playing Mrs. White. Joel Sunson is playing Mr. Green. Reagan Lincoln, who I've never worked with before, but really looking forward to it, is playing Miss Peacock. Kendall Berry is playing Miss Scarlet. Leland Ensminger is going to be Colonel Mustard. And Yvonne Erasmus, who I worked with in Baton Rouge several times, is going to be Yvette the French maid. And David Haydell and Noah Smith and Brittany Milligan are the three ensemble people. Now, quite honestly, unfortunately, I had someone cast as Professor Plum, but due to some work complications, he just had to drive out. So we've made another offer to someone, but we haven't gotten a result yet. So I'm still looking for Professor Plum, but I'm pretty sure we'll have that resolved in the next day.
I'm sorry to let you know I cannot do it. So
come on,
you're gonna have to take me
Alan.
off the table. So that's a pretty good cast. And you know, I know recognize a lot of the names who have played in other JPAS productions before. You know, David Haydell, for instance. You mentioned
Reagan.
Yeah, Reagan Lincoln.
Reagan, yeah.
So you've got seasoned professionals who have been there before.
We had a wonderful turnout at auditions. We had over 50 people auditioning.
Now, tell me a little bit about the Jefferson Performing Arts Theater. Now, I mean, is it up to snuff? I mean, all the repairs have been made?
Oh yes, it's beautiful. It looks wonderful. I'm excited to do a show there. I'm just getting back to New Orleans in the last 3 years, so I'm just kind of getting my feet wet in places. And was fortunate to do something at JPAS last year, the view upstairs, and this is a little bit. The Westwego Theater is a little bit more intimate than the Airline Highway Theater.
Right.
But
built by the same person that constructed the theater at Rivertown.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Exact same architect. Yeah.
Well, it's lovely. I mean, there's a lot of space. There's wing space. There's fly space. I mean, Olivia Winter, who's doing the set design, has done a fabulous job of creating this body mansion, as it were. Yeah. And it's going to really, I think people are going to love it. It's really going to be fun.
The interesting thing, that I remember about the theater was that it was damaged by several, not one, not two, but I think 3 different hurricanes.
I didn't know that.
And what would happen is they would report the problem. You talk about getting your feet wet. They got a little bit of water into the theater from a hole in the roof, and that hole in the roof was never repaired. And then, of course, the water that got into the theater, mold, mildew built up, et cetera, and all of the brand new seats that they just put in all got mildew. Just nothing you can do about it. So it's like every time they got the theater backed up to snuff, it got hit by another hurricane. So it's just a horrible situation. But hopefully this one will be good for a long time. I'd like to see that it stays. So again, what are the dates when it opens? You said the 3rd of October
3rd through the 13th,
and it runs for 10 days essentially.
Yeah, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 8 performances.
Okay, and then is it possible it could be held over in any way or no?
That's a dentist question. I don't know.
Okay.
It'd be wonderful if it were, but I don't know that answer.
I appreciate that. No problem. Now, the director of Jekyll and Hyde, which is the 3rd of the shows this year for JPAS, that's going to be Ken Good Jr. Unfortunately, Ken is not able to join us tonight. He was planning on joining us, but he's had a problem somewhere wherever he is, and I think he said Tennessee, and he can't make it tonight. But I have seen Jekyll and Hyde, and I'm not quite sure who's playing all the different roles, the Dr. Jekyll and the Lucy, etc. But it is Frank Wildhorn who did the show. Have you ever seen it? Anybody?
Yes, I saw it in Houston when it was originally workshopped at the Alley Theater. So I mean,
So you saw it with Linda Eder?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
I just saw Linda Eder on stage at 54 Below a few weeks back, and she's still in wonderful voice.
She has a gorgeous voice
and great control, and amazing control. When she first came on the scene, many people, and I think quite accurately, compared her to a young Barbra Streisand, because that big a voice and that much control. She was really amazing. So I don't know, Janet, have you ever seen Jekyll and Hyde? They did do a version of it here.
I've never seen it. No, it's going to be a new experience for me.
Yeah, so I hope you get a chance to see it. Some fantastic music in it. Frank Wildhorn, at the time that he wrote this, and you were workshop, you said in Houston, his girlfriend at the time was Linda Eder. So they were an item, and so he wrote this much like Andrew Lloyd Webber wrote Phantom of the Opera for his wife at the time, Sarah Brightman.
Sarah Brightman, right?
In no relation to Alex Brightman, I want you to know. Not that there is, but anyway, so Frank Wildhorn did that, and again, Jekyll and Hyde is as you'd imagine. You can see the blood. It's dark, but it also is great fun. If you can imagine taking a deep, dark theme like Jekyll and Hyde, classic horror film, or in this particular case, horror novel, and translating it to the stage, that's what you got there. So, I hope that people will go check it out. It's a truly great musical, and I will tell you that of the music that came out like in the 90s, one of my favorites. Unfortunately, did not get revived on Broadway recently. I wish it had been, but it's one of those shows that I think is waiting to come back. I think you get the right cast in it, it'll be great. So,
I don't know who all the people in the cast, and I'm going to say this, and I'm pretty sure I'm correct, but I believe Lucy is being played by Stephanie Toops Aubrey.
Oh,
yeah, I'm pretty sure she's playing Lucy. That's the only casting I've heard, but because I know Stephanie, and I think she told me that when I saw her at
she was just in Pippin,
right?
And of course was in Beautiful. Well, she was in Beautiful too at Le Petit.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so a fabulous voice, and I hope that she does that part, because that's a really beautiful part.
I'm pretty sure she told me she was doing that.
Great, that's fantastic. So, do you know who's directing the next show that's going to be, I think, at the West Wego Theater, which is The Leopard by Yabo Yablonsky?
I have no idea.
I don't either, and I asked the question, but nobody could answer me. So I guess I'll find out myself. This is obviously a reference to the snows of Kilimanjaro, and that would of course be a snow leopard. And of course, that's a photo, as you can see, of Papa Ernest Hemingway, writing longhand as he did. And again, I don't know anything that much about it. I don't know who's directing. I don't even know who's starring in it. I don't know if it's a one-hander or a two-hander, but it might be a show that's being brought in by JPAS, just on tour. I don't know. So, because nobody seems to know much about it, and the person who would be telling me about it, Mr. Dennis Asaf or Mr. Bob Davini, are not here, and that's unfortunate, So, and I don't know why Amy's not here. They're
I'm sure Amy's in the board meeting with them.
Yeah. Well, okay, we'll just have to move on. That was that's the fourth show is Leopard. So we let everybody know that's going to be a JPAC, not JPAC. It's going to be at the West Wego Performing Arts Theater. And then right before Christmas, and the dates I have to go look it up again, but it's right around Christmas time. Elf Jr., the musical, is going to be on, and again, that is going to be December the 13th, 14th, and 15th. Now the question is, I guess it's going to be at the Westwego Performing Arts Theater. Why it's not going to be on any more than that? Just essentially three dates.
Well, I think that and again, I'm not sure, so I hate to quote, but I think maybe that's going to be their young, their young actors.
I think you're
That'll be
right. I
going
think
with
it's
that.
going. Yes, if it has Elf Junior, it's. I'm sure it is the youth program.
So I wonder why they're not doing it more though than just one weekend, like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You would think that the kids would have that one opportunity to do something and maybe do it over 2 weeks. Maybe it's just the way that Christmas falls out this year.
Well,
Maybe.
and that's probably part of it. Plus,
And-
I think they're doing the Nutcracker too, don't they?
Well, you lead right to the next one, the Nutcracker. The Nutcracker, but the Nutcracker is going to be on the main stage at the Jefferson Performing Arts Center, and that's on 2 nights, the 21st and the 22nd. And I say 2 nights; it actually could be an afternoon show as well. But December the 21st and 22nd. Now we're still in 2024 with not much to go, but still all of the shows we've talked about so far tonight are all in 2024. So anything we talk to after this, and of course the first show after that is going to be Murder on the Nile. And again, that Janet, you know a little bit about, right?
I know a little bit about it. I know.
Tell me why you know about it.
Because I'm going to be in it.
And what role will you be playing?
I will be playing Mrs. Helen Folliet Folks.
Okay.
She's a spoiled old woman, which is not too much of a stretch for me. Anyway,
Janet, have you done Murder on the Nile before? I know you've done a few murder mysteries, etc. in the past. Have you ever done this one before?
I haven't. No.
Okay, that's fantastic. So it's
really
fresh for you.
No,
That's
but
great.
this is what I have to tell you, that not only am I in it, but the people playing Joe and Marilyn in the show I'm directing are in it as well. So all 3 of us are in Chris's show, and we are
Okay.
in the very next show. So it's going to be really crazy for the 3 of us.
So
but we'll
again,
manage.
you mentioned Chris Shaw, who
Uh-huh.
has been I guess you might say a veteran director. He's been involved as an actor and a director. Done a number of
Last
things.
year he was Hercule Poirot.
Yes, he was.
Yes, in the Agatha Christie.
And a show that you were intimately involved with.
Yes, I
yeah,
directed him in that.
You directed it. So that's great. And again, for those of you who maybe have seen the film that just came out with Kenneth, I'm trying to remember Kenneth, the actor.
Brana?
Branagh, Kenneth Branagh. He's his version of Hercule Poirot is a lot different than some of the people who have gone before him. I have to say, very interesting. It's a little bit more raw than some of the Hercule Poirots that have gone before, which tend to be a little bit more genteel and almost effete, maybe, but anyway, I have to say I did enjoy seeing him do that. So that's going to be Murder on the Nile, and the dates for Murder on the Nile again are going to be in 2025. That's going to be at the JPAS again on Airline Drive, and it's going to be actually right going up against some of the dates in Carnival. It'll be the week after the Super Bowl, so that'll means it's going to be the same week as I appreciate it as Carrollton and Pontchartrain.
Yeah, that weekend, absolutely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then the following weekend is going to be the same weekend as the 22nd, 23rd, etc. That's going to be the weekend that you're going to have, I guess, Endymion, etc. Right? Am I right on that?
No, Mardi Gras is the 4th of March.
Let me take a look on the calendar real quick, because that'll tell me right away, because I can backtrack it. So Mardi Gras is the 4th. So let's see. The 22nd, the 23rd. Maybe that's the weekend for.
That's Carrollton and King Arthur.
Okay.
I'm in King Arthur, so I know that's the weekend.
Okay. All right. But I know that the Super Bowl is going to be the weekend of the 7th, the 8th, and the 9th.
Right.
Okay. So that means
Of March?
Of February.
No, February.
February, okay.
Yeah. So then that means there's a free week for the 14th, the 15th, and the 16th, if that's the case. Yeah, that's the case. Yeah. Okay, so Carrollton will be the 21st, 22nd, 23rd weekend, and you said King Arthur, Pontchartrain, etc. So okay, it'll be an interesting.
It's going to be a busy time in New Orleans.
Yes, it will.
Sure will.
It certainly will be. Again, those of you joining us tonight, we have Janet Shea on, and we also have Jack Lambert. We have a whole bunch of people who's supposed to join us. Nobody else here, but we're having a party on our own without anybody else. So if you didn't show up, too bad for you guys. Anybody? The next show on the bill is going to be True West, which is a Sam Shepard play, which I've seen several times. Basically about two dysfunctional brothers, and I kind of like, I don't know, I kind of liken it to the Smothers Brothers on Speed.
I've directed that twice. Yes, you're right about that.
Now, did you? Again, they are very dysfunctional, and they like to get under each other's nerves, and they know how to do it perfectly, don't they? So
it's a great scene with toasters.
Yes. Now again, for those of you who are interested, that's going to be on February the 6th or the 16th. So that's actually going to be right before Murder on the Nile. I think I may have jumped the gun by saying that because I should back that up and just say that True West will actually be before Murder on the Nile. I'll have to change that. Yeah, well, it's what happens is sometimes you can change it up. So I just changed it up. So I'll make it number 7, number 8, and vice versa. So okay. So now number 7 is going to be True West, right? And then number 8 is going to be Murder on the Nile, and then followed after that by good. We'll bring Jim in a second. Murder on the Nile is going to be as I mentioned in February, but later in February. So earlier tonight we talked a little bit about the Columbia Theater. If you remember, I showed an exterior of the Columbia Theater, and then I also brought you inside to see the interior. And of course, one of the people who's working with the Columbia Theater is Jim Winter. And Jim, welcome to the show. We appreciate you being here. Again, Jim, Janet Shea and Jack Lambert here. I don't know if you've seen either of their work, but trust me, they're very, very qualified, very eminently connected people in theater here. If you haven't seen Janet, I've always called her the First Lady of the New Orleans stage.
Absolutely, and she is.
And Jack, of course, is a return. He's like the swallows of Capistrano. They keep coming back. So he's returned. He's returned. And again, Jack, you were where were you? Was it Chicago? Or where
the last place I was the education director at Theater Baton Rouge, but I was in Chicago and San Francisco and Houston prior to that. Always directing, and acting a little bit.
And Jim, you're in Hammond, right? Is that right?
I am. I'm at the historic Columbia Theater in downtown Hammond, and I've known Janet for a long time. In fact, we were in a film together. We just weren't in any scenes together.
Janet, you remember the film? I love it.
Tell me what it was.
It was originally called Rabbit Days, but then the name was changed to The Beast, and I think it's still streaming on Amazon.
Yes, I do remember that. Yeah, with Cody and Zach.
Yes, and Ryan LaBeouf. Yes.
The Beast, huh?
Yes.
Okay.
All I remember is that I was in bed the whole time.
What year was that? Was that recent?
It was released in 2016.
I'm gonna think. I think I did something on that when it came out too. Yeah.
You may well have. The late Clarence Gilliard Jr. was the lead in it from Walker, Texas Ranger, and
I remember.
Die
Yeah.
Hard. Yeah.
Was he was in Die Hard? Wasn't he also in? Yeah, Die Hard. But what was the other thing? Wasn't he in?
Top Gun was another big one that he was in, and the biggest thing he did was he was on every season of Walker, Texas Ranger.
Texas Ranger. That was the big thing he was in. Yeah. I remember. In Die Hard, though, he did the famous thing, about was it the police? What was it? The tank is toast. I think.
Yes, that was him. Yeah.
Anyway, so tell us a little bit about the Columbia Theater. We already mentioned School of Rock. Are there any other shows that Dennis is going to be working with you about this year?
Absolutely. We are combining forces on Clue. We're both producing Clue this fall. He's doing it, I think, at his Westwego space in October, and we're doing it on the main stage at the Columbia in November. So we're actually joining forces on that. Olivia Winter is scenic designing the set for both venues. It'll be the same set in both venues, the same props package in both venues, but then there'll be independent productions.
So, Jack, you've been working with Jim?
No. I think Jim's been working with Olivia, and so have I. So I don't think
so. You all meeting for the first time. That's interesting.
Well, now, it's great to meet you.
You too. Jim, have you cast it yet?
Actually, I just got home from night one of our auditions.
Oh, okay. We start rehearsals on Saturday, so we're ready to go.
Yeah, that sounds
fantastic.
Set
is fabulous.
I know, and I'm looking forward. I'm going to come see the production in your venue because obviously I want to see how everything comes together.
So, sometimes nepotism is a very good thing in theater. So tell me a little bit about Olivia. How was she related?
Oh, actually, we're not. We just have the same last name. There's
really
no relation whatsoever.
Oh, that's funny.
That is. I thought maybe you'd tell me she's your beloved and you've known her for 20 years. Oh, well, there goes another good opportunity, Janet. Sorry about that. All right. So, so you're doing School of Rock that you mentioned first, and then you're going to be doing Clue. That's fantastic. So, and again, tickets for your shows will not be through JPAS. So tell me what's the those people who want to go to Hammond and go see the show as well. Where would they go for that?
The easiest would probably be to just go to columbiatheater.org, and you can buy your tickets. You can see what's on for the whole season there. Yeah, and if you like to call, you can find the phone numbers there too for the box office because they just changed all our phone lines, so I no longer have our box office number memorized. You'll have.
All right. So is that the right way to spell it, or do you spell it R-E?
R-E.
Figures. He would do that.
I know.
Dirty dog. All right. So, So, I thought I'd get one ahead of you. Well,
I appreciate it.
That's all right. I'll hopefully it's fixed now. There we go. No,
there
I didn't spell it right.
No.
It's still with the T's missing.
Oh.
All right. On the fly, sometimes these things don't go as well as you expect them. All right. Save it and forget it.
Look at that. Yeah, that's us for sure.
All right. So people want to go on, they can go to that site. And do you have season tickets? How's this work? How many shows do you have for the season?
We do. We have a very robust season, but it's kind of an unusual season because we really are a theater for the performing arts. So we have everything from rock concerts to we're the home of the Bill Evans Jazz Festival. Plus we have plays we produce, plays that tour in, like School of Rock. So it's a little bit of anything and everything. We do an a la carte season ticket, and there's still, even though we've already started the season, there are plenty of shows left. You just have to pick any 7 shows and you're a season ticket holder.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, again, I don't know all the different plans for JPAS. I know they've got 4 main shows at JPAC, and 4 main shows at the Westwego Performing Arts Theater. So you can get those season, opportunities. And again, if you wanted to get, I guess, all 8 shows, you could probably buy a plan that allows you to do that. I don't know how that works. I would suggest that you go online and go check that out. And again, not at columbiatheater.org, but obviously at jpas.org. So we'll put that one up as well. In the meantime, we have a couple more shows to talk about, but I need to let everybody know that we're going to be on tonight till 9. We have about another 20 minutes, and we're going to cover the remainder of the season, including, Janet, your own show that you're going to talk about
Yes.
believe it or not, Joe and Marilyn. But before we get there, I wanted to let people know about some of the other shows that are coming up. We got up to Murder on the Nile, and we had stopped. We had not actually gone into the other big show that's going to be on, and it'll be the second time that this show has been brought to New Orleans since it premiered on Broadway that I know of. I don't know that we ever saw this at the Sanger. I don't really remember being at the Sanger, so you can correct me, but I believe the first time it was brought here was at Rivertown. They did a few years ago and did a fantastic job, but I know that Kenneth Beck, who's going to be doing the Nutcracker, will also be doing Billy Elliot. And those of you who know this show know that the music is by the one, the only Reginald Dwight, better known as Elton John. And of course, the big number in that, Electricity. But they've got several other really beautiful songs that are in it as well. Anybody see the show on Broadway?
I saw it in London.
Ah,
That must have I saw it at Rivertown.
Yes. Yeah. And again, just really, it's funny because you don't think of Elton John necessarily as a great Broadway, name, but when you really start to think about it, not only did he do Billy Elliot, but he also, of course, did The Lion King. He also did Aida. I mean, he's got quite a number of hits on Broadway that he's got out there. Plus, he's got a new one that he's trying to do now. But I think in that Tammy Faye that he's doing.
Oh, I don't know. But it'd be great.
Anyway, he's got quite a number of big hits. And again, anybody who's seen Billy Elliot knows it's based. Again, when you say these words, it probably sounds terrible. It's based on an independent British film, right? And what other independent British films can you think about that did well on Broadway? Well, there was Once. Remember that?
Oh yeah,
it won the Tony Award for Best Musical. And there was another thing called Kinky Boots. Remember that one? That also did really well, won Best Musical as well. Harvey Firestein and of course Cyndi Lauper doing the music. And of course, this is another one of those little independent British films that turned into a big monumental hit. So Billy Elliot will be playing. And again, for those of you who are looking for the dates for Billy Elliot, let me just tell you that that's going to be March the 28th after Mardi Gras through April the 6th. And again, I don't know whether or not it will, be held over if they do real well with it, whatever. But because that's beyond my pay grade, like you said, that's a call on Dennis as far as that goes. But those are the first 9 shows that we have for the season. And is there anything else left on the season, Janet? What could there possibly be?
Joe and Marilyn.
Oh. So Janet, you've read this. You've read this script. So tell me. I don't know who Willard Manis is. What's he done before? Is this his first and only?
I know that he's written other plays. I don't know. I did some research on it. This was written as a one-act play. Yes, and another when a producer got it, it was he encouraged the playwright to turn it into a 2-act play.
Okay.
So there's a lot more in it, but
is it presented in 2 acts with an intermission, or is it
it's 2 acts with an intermission? Yes,
okay.
It is.
And
but it's short. It's not a long play.
Okay.
But it's I would say I would call it episodic because it's just the different scenes in their relationship, and you see how it blossoms and how it sours, and then how she really is his. She really needs his friendship toward the end, and it's tragic.
I'm something of an I don't want to say aficionado, but I am a really big fan of Marilyn Monroe. And I think that you could probably say that the person she was most in love with, if she could ever be in love with anybody, was probably Arthur Miller, but that probably Joe DiMaggio was more in love with Marilyn than she was. He just couldn't take all the attention, when you're at top of the, and I guess that's part of what the whole
and her
part of it is.
publicity too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she was a brilliant person. I mean, a lot of people don't remember that she actually, for the film she did, the Princess and the Showgirl with Sir Laurence Olivier, she was the actual producer of that entire film, and that happened not long after the breakup with Joe DiMaggio, when she was dealing with Arthur Miller, etc. And I have to say that she doesn't get credit a lot of the times for being as smart a person as she was, coming from the abusive kind of relationships that she had, and dealing with all kinds of problems on the home front, and then trying to create an image of a sex symbol that we all still kind of probably cling to as probably the preeminent Hollywood starlet that there ever was. It's difficult to come up with anybody else who so perfectly
bodies that.
Yeah, I mean, did all the right things to make her for just a short period of time. And when you look at how young she was when she passed away, she didn't even make it to 36, as I recall. So you really have to think about what she did and what a big flash she was, and then all of a sudden gone, like Elvis Presley. We all tend to think he had a long career, but he was dead before he was 43. So that's a pretty young life in terms of a
the light burns
big star,
right, and then it goes out.
Yeah.
Really sad.
Anyway, so tell me a little bit. Have you cast Joe and Marilyn in any way yet?
Yes, I have.
Oh, okay. Is that secret, or can you kind of give us a?
No, I'll tell you, because I don't think you've seen this actress before. Her name is Sarah Coleman.
No.
Yes.
And
she's originally from Shreveport. She grew up in Los Angeles, and she has moved back to this area because she got married, and her husband, I believe her husband is in medical school. But they live on the North Shore, and she came to auditions, and we were auditioning on the same day as Jack and Chris. They were casting Clue and Murder on the Nile in the same day, so we had a lot of people
That's great.
who auditioned for all three shows.
That's wonderful.
So she came to audition, and I had her do. I just handed her one of the Marilyn monologues, and she did it so beautifully that I knew she was the one we had to cast. Yes.
So and the Joe DiMaggio, that's a sort of a physically demanding kind of role. The stature. So
Jonathan Marez is playing.
Okay,
John.
Sure. And of course, Jonathan, a producer in his own right too.
Yes.
He's been successful in that vein, although not so much lately. But been doing more stage work than producing. What else? While we're here, Jim, I see you got your beer. Jack, did I find out what you were drinking? Because I don't remember what it was.
Sauvignon Blanc.
Sauvignon Blanc, and
I have cranberry juice and Fresca.
Yeah. Full disclosure, it's only an Abita root beer. So.
Oh, so I'm the drunk here.
I got mine. Don't worry about it.
Okay, good.
Nobody in this house drinks alone. Trust me. So we got about maybe 10 minutes left. So, we've got a few people who've been in tonight. Again, I'm going to have to rebroadcast the show to the NOLA Theatre Folk Facebook group for whatever reason. Facebook has been messing with me, and I'm going to be very angry with the people at StreamYard over this, because that's, my application is the second show in a row that I've done where it has not broadcast, and they blame it on Facebook, and of course Facebook is going to blame it on StreamYard. So
Right. I tried to get on to watch it. I couldn't see it.
Well, you
before I
should.
joined.
Well, yeah, you usually can see it, but again, I'm not quite sure. I know it's being broadcast right now. I'm watching it being broadcast, but it's not broadcast on the NOLA Theatre Folk Facebook group. It is broadcast right now on theatrecriticism.com's Facebook page, which is different than theatrecriticism.com, which is the website for reviewing. That's the social media page that I use to promote it whenever I do a review or somebody else does a review. It's a site for reviewers. It's not, it's not a site meant for these kinds of shows.
Right.
But in any event, if worse comes to worse, I will start to broadcast the show on my own personal Facebook page and tell Facebook that they can go somewhere and they can deal with it. But unfortunately, there's not much as I can do about it, because they changed the standards, and there's no reason for them to do that, but they did, and they're just kind of messing with us. So we'll deal with it. So real quick, we've got about 8 minutes left before we have to go. So I'm going to ask everybody to go around. Janet, we'll keep you last. So Jim, tell me a little bit about what you want people to know about the upcoming season for JPAS, and also for yourself over at Columbia Theater. And again, I'll sometime during the time that you're talking, I'll throw up the banner for people as to where they can go to get tickets. So go.
Well, I'm very excited. This is a relatively new collaboration between Dennis and myself, JPAS and the Columbia Theater. But our hope is that it's going to continue for years, where we want to get to a point where we're touring shows back and forth. We're bringing shows to his facilities. He's bringing shows to ours. I think we share vision in that there's plenty of room for all of us and an audience for all of us, and that we're stronger together than we are alone. And I'm thrilled to be entering my 5th season as artistic director at the Columbia Theater. We used to be solely a touring house. And when I came on, I said, let's be masters of our own destiny. And now we produced quite a bit and also celebrate a lot of local talent. So I'm very excited about this upcoming season. There's so much. Check out our website. It's far too much for me to shout out right now, but certainly our production of Clue in mid-November, which I don't want to give too much away, but there's going to be a little bit of a surprise about how we're approaching it. But I'm going to keep that cat in the bag for the moment.
All right. Well, there you have it. Okay. Thank you, Jim, for coming in. You can stick around while we get Jack to talk a little bit about what's going on in his world. Of course, Jack, you had last year you had a major musical that you did, right?
Right. I did The View Upstairs for JPAS last year.
Which unfortunately I was out of town for, but would you just sort of in a little short capsule maybe let everybody know what it was about in case they missed it?
Well, in 1973, there was a fire in the French Quarter at a bar called the Upstairs Lounge, where 32 gay men were basically burnt and perished in the fire. And this was a beautiful musical tribute to that night at the Upstairs Lounge through the eyes of a young 2024 entrepreneur who steps back in time when he steps into the space to open a boutique, and he relives that night with the patrons. It's a beautiful, beautiful. Max Vernon wrote the score and the script, and it was just a beautiful experience. It was my first show back in New Orleans, so I was thrilled to be directing it and to kind of find a little bit of a home at JPAS. And I'm thrilled that I was asked back to do Clue and be in the company of Janet Shea and Leslie Castay and Chris Shaw and these wonderful theater people here in New Orleans, to be accepted back to my hometown. So I'm thrilled to be back here and working.
Well,
We're
we're
thrilled
glad
to have you back here.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Janet. That means a lot.
And Janet, to put the icing on the cake, again, you've got Joe and Marilyn, but tell us also about Murder on the Nile.
Murder on the Nile. Well, I'll tell you, well, of course, it's directed by Chris Shaw. Chris and I have directed each other several times, so it's great to work with him again. Actually, Hercule Poirot is not in Murder on the Nile. At this point in her career, Agatha Christie got mad at Hercule Poirot. She said he's gotten too egotistical and he's too fussy, and so she's given another character the opportunity to be the sleuth in Murder on the Nile, and it's Canon Ambrose Pennyfather,
Oh,
played by Jimmy Murphy. Do you know
okay.
Jimmy Murphy?
I know
you?
Jimmy Murphy very well. Yes.
Yes,
Well, that
yes.
so all of so Death on the Nile, not to be confused with Murder on the Nile. Is that right?
Murder on the Nile, it is Death on the Nile. I guess it's the same story, but Hercule
Yeah, but
Poirot.
I think the Death on the
Murder
Nile
on
is
the Orient Express was Hercule Poirot.
right.
Murder on the Nile is
Right.
Penn,
But
I guess.
right, I think when they did the movie Death on the Nile, it was Hercule
Oh, they
Poirot.
did. They put
Yeah.
Poirot in it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but I think I remember you're right that Agatha Christie had Murder on the Nile. It was her book and her play first before it became a screenplay of Death on the Nile. And that was the one that they had. Okay, so we kind of got to that. That's a mystery all of itself.
It certainly is.
So again, I want to thank you all for coming. I'm sorry to say Dennis didn't make it, and sorry to say that Rob Davitti didn't make it. Sorry to say Chris Shaw didn't make it. Sorry to say Ken Good didn't make it. Sorry to say Kenneth Beck didn't make it. We mentioned them all the night. They weren't here, but they were mentioned. So we did
They
our
were
job.
actually here in spirit.
You know what? It's their own fault if they're not here having a good time. But like I say, I like to be able to promote the shows. I have upcoming shows that we'll be promoting coming up. I don't know those of you who are familiar with it, but the Crest City Stage, our resident actors equity company is actually going to be putting on a show coming up not too long down the road of A Doll's House, and it's going to be interesting because two of the I guess you might say the creatives in Crescent City Stage are actually going to be two of the leads in A Doll's House, so that'll be very interesting, and they are husband and wife, so it'll be very interesting to see how they carry on. I guess sort of as the latter-day Lunt Fontaine. But we'll see what goes on. And we have other shows that are going to be coming up for some of the other theater offerings that will be held in the next several weeks. So I hope that we'll be able to do a good job by everybody's standards, and hope that everybody will appreciate the work we do. Again, we started this show during the pandemic when all of the theaters were locked and shuttered. There was no way to get in to see theater. And Janet, I appreciate you're coming on the show at that time. Jack, you were still probably in Baton Rouge or in
yeah, I was. I was
at that time
doing stuff with theater.
And Jim, you were doing your thing in Hammond, trying to figure out what the heck to do with a theater that's dark, right? And
it was my first season as artistic director, and that was hit 2/3 of the way through.
That's correct.
Start.
You can make it through that season. You can make it through anything. But Janet, I remember you came on. We did a show on you, and poor darling. I remember I asked you, who's your favorite actor to work with in New Orleans, and you said, "Oh my goodness, Carol Sutton." And
Carol
the first
Sutton,
time
yes.
I pushed a button, and Carol was in the room, and I couldn't have planned it any better if I
That was
wanted.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anyway,
I love you so much.
Listen, thank you very much, all of y'all. I'm just gonna say goodbye to everybody right now. So if you stick around for a little bit, I'll remove you, but I'll bring you back in just a little bit after we close the show out. Again, everybody, thank you very much for being with me. You've been with us for the whole hour. And again, my name is Alan Smason. We're on NOLA Theatre Talk. We broadcast the NOLA Theatre Folk Facebook group mostly, although I'm not sure about tonight. We'll get it on there eventually. Theatrecriticism.com Facebook page and my own YouTube channel. Thanks for being with us. And on behalf of Janet, Jim, and Jack, thanks for being here, and I'll see you at the theater.